Welcome, everybody, back to the REDX Podcast. I am your host, Curtis Fenn, and thank you so much for being with us, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or listening to it on Spotify or wherever the 30 places this thing streams. We appreciate you tuning in or listening. If you have questions, we want you to post them in the chat. As we talk throughout the podcast, always, if there's resources or books or whatever we end up talking about, we've got the team in the back end that's looking for links and making sure that you have access to everything that we're talking about. So we sure appreciate you tuning in here. For those of you that, if this is your first time on the REDX Podcast, our goal is always to help you in your business. We want you to walk away with something actionable, something tangible, tactical, things that you can actually take into your business and implement that will help you personally, that will affect your business, or something you can do in your business right now. I'm very excited about the guest that we have today. I'm going to just bring her right on. Welcome, Treasurer Davis.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Instead of me reading some bio that I whipped up in ChatGPT before you came on, please share your story. I think it's a valid story. Please don't be humble at this point, because it's really important that people understand, we're very selective of who we bring on the show, because we believe that you have incredible insight and advice. So come to the brag table. Why should people be listening to you today?
People should be listening to what we talk about today. Because I have been a realtor for over 20 years. And I don't say that as like, I've been a realtor for 20 years, right? We all make those jokes. It's really been about the trials and tribulations and the journey along that path that leads some validity to what we're talking about today. We've sold over 3,500 homes. We average about, give or take, over the earlier years, obviously it wasn't that much because I was a solo agent, but our team typically averages 40 deals a year. The average agent on our team does a minimum of 24 plus transactions a year. And so we are even though we do a lot of transactions and people like, I'll never get that big because I want to be, holding my client's hand every step of the way. So do we. And so we have a really amazing admin team. We have about one admin person for every person on our team. 1 to every 2. So we have a lot of admin on our team. They're paid well, they're treated well. We love them because they are literally the backbone of what we do, and they give us the ability to just take care of our clients. And so I think that's really important. I've also been a coach for Tom Ferry for over 4 years. I believe in coaching on many levels. I don't believe that you can be a professional in any sport or any business without coaching. So I actually have three coaches right now that do something for my team or myself, no matter what we're looking to do. So every year I set 3 intentions, and then I make sure that I have coaches that line up with what I'm looking to work on. So they hold me very accountable to what I want to achieve. And I think that's really important. Whether you're on a team or a solo agent or just starting out or been doing this 20, 30 years, I think that's very important.
That's amazing. And we have a topic today.
We
but
do.
We're definitely going to I'm already telling everyone we're going to have Treasure back because today we have a topic that we want to talk about, and it's not her breaking down the team, but I definitely think we should have you back to talk about the team structure. I wrote down 3 questions about your admins, and then I wrote down, I starred on my notes, I said culture, because I can just feel that, from that. And I think that we have a hard time. See, in our world, in the SaaS, culture is what you hire to, it's what you talk about, it's what you fire to, and accountability. And we see that lacking in real estate. So I'm just saying it right now at the beginning, that we're going to have Treasure back, and we're going to talk about team and team culture and team structure and how to have a successful team for sure.
The bad, the ugly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, especially where you're excited about your team right now. We're seeing this is maybe a good segue into our topic, because we see so many people kind of in the boom all the way through COVID. And it was like, start a team, and people wanted to build a team, and they're recruiting agents and infrastructure build a team. And now we're seeing those people go, oh, I'm just going to go back into production and kind of let the team fend for themselves. And there's a lot of smaller teams that are really suffering right now. And the fact that you're really excited about your team says a lot about where you're at in your business. So that's very exciting. But on that note, with these whether it's a team leader or whether an agent, I'll tell you what we're seeing. I would love to know if this is what you're seeing as you coach agents, and is we're seeing a tremendous amount of burnout. Like, it's a tough year. And the stat that's getting thrown around is, 70+% of agents haven't done a deal this year, which can be misleading because there's a lot of percentage of agents that every year that don't do a deal, but it is much higher than most years. We see the average age of agents going up, which means newer agents are dropping out faster. We see there's a lot of indications that there's just burnout, and then you see it. You get on the forums and even our prospecting group on Facebook. It's like, man, I'm considering whether I even want to stay in this industry, and this is not what I thought it was going to be. So let's dive into that a little bit as you're out there, and especially if your average agent, is it an average or a minimum of 24 transactions?
I would say the average minimum on the team is 24. Obviously, some agents on our team do 40, 50, 60 transactions a year. I personally will do 40 from my past clients and sphere, as well as lead the team, which that feeds into the other conversation we're going to have. But I would say, doing this high level of production, at the high, when I, first started my team, I was doing 120 transactions myself with just an assistant. And so going through the ebbs and the flows of burnout and market trends and all of that, I think that's why that's a really relevant conversation for today. And I think that what I related to, actually, I was just talking about this today at breakfast. I feel like this market is actually harder than the 2008 market. And a lot of people don't have context of that because they weren't realtors, which is fine.
Right.
But that just goes to show you how hard this market actually is. Yeah. And for us, our rebuilding year was last year in 2024. That was our rebuilding year. And we made some really hard and fast decisions. And then this year, we knew the beginning part of the year was going to be really tough for us. And so now we're starting to see those decisions that we made last year balance it out, right? And so that's why when you're like, you're really excited about your team, I'm like, yes, because I made decisions last year that I was going to be thankful for this year. And I knew it was going to take that long for everything to work out. But I think so much, just hitting off this real quickly, I think so much people want things on demand. Like, if you look at Amazon, I could drive to the store and go buy it, or I could just click 3 buttons and have it delivered tomorrow. And then I don't have to leave my home. I could go look at an open house, but I could just look at the pictures online and Google Earth it and see everything I need to see from it, and maybe ask AI some questions and get enough, information about it. I think that we live in such an on-demand society that we expect the same things when we're starting as entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yeah.
And it's never going to happen that way. The failure rate for restaurants is really high as well. Yeah. The failure rate for starting businesses is sadly really high as well. And I think a lot of realtors get into this business not thinking that you are starting a business from scratch.
Yeah.
And you have to build it that way. No matter whether you join a team, you're a solo agent, you're at a great brokerage, you're at an indie brokerage, it doesn't matter where you are building this business from scratch. And you can make a mistake and learn, but it's going to take time to reverse that decision, right? And I think a lot of people are like, well, no, I just want it now. I got my license. I see that it's cute to look at houses, and I just want to do that. I just want to look at $1 million plus houses. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to sell 10 houses and it'll be so easy, right? And it's anything but. And so I was just telling my team before I hopped on this, and I was like, if people are working less than 40 hours in this industry as being a realtor, it's going to be a hard time to be successful.
Yeah.
You have to outwork people. And people don't want to. They want to doom scroll on social media. And that's not going to lead you to be successful.
No.
It's going to make you feel worse a lot of times because you're going to see other people posting their successes. And then it's just going to feed into this complex that you have. And when you're a small business owner, you have to just be focused on what you're doing, which has really been, a lot of times people are like, tell me the secret to success. Tell me what you did. It was really 3 things. 1, being super consistent every single day, whether I felt like it or not. Even still to this day, I do prospecting. 20 years later, still doing prospecting every single day. Who else is doing that?
Right.
Not many. Not people say they are, but not many.
No.
Are actually doing it every single day and being consistent. Right? The other thing is that I'm going to outwork people. If people are like, I want to do this and I want to do that, and I'm not willing to sacrifice anything, guess what? I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit. And people aren't willing to sacrifice a little bit. I'm not saying sacrifice at all. I'm just saying sacrifice a little bit because you're starting off.
Right.
And I think some people think that they know it and they don't have a growth mindset. And they think that they just know everything. Like 20 years in, and I've been coaching. I've been a coach with Tom Ferry for 4 years. I've been a coaching client for over a decade. We're going on 13 years, and I still have a growth mindset. And I'm like, every single day, I'm going to learn something new. Something new. I'm going to learn something new. And I'm going to figure out where to implement it into my business. And that comes from making sacrifices with TV, social media, things like that. Like while people are doom scrolling, I'm reading a book. And I think that's a little bit of the differences. Yeah. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but
no. I just want, you said, so consistency, outwork. Is there a third one? You said there's 3 things.
Yes, there's consistency. There's having a growth mindset and never feeling like you know it all. And outworking other people. I don't know of very many realtors that actually put in 40 hours.
I agree. Well, and it's interesting because you can be busy for 40 hours and certainly not put in 40 hours and not work 40 hours, right? And that's the waiting game. Or you spend tons of time preparing to do the thing. In our house, we call it totes progress, and here's why: is there's this joke that I get this bug, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go clean out my garage. But in order to clean out my garage, I got to go to Costco and buy more totes to store stuff. And then you buy totes, and I have a bunch of empty totes in the garage because it gives you the illusion that you've made progress towards your goal by getting the totes and the bins to be able to organize. But then if you don't actually do the thing, then you were busy doing nothing, even though you have this false illusion. Again, we talked about this pre-show. We could talk about this for an hour. Social media is that, it gives people an illusion that I've made some progress when you haven't really done anything that's going to help your business grow. And so do you think that these 3 things are, if everybody started with these 3 things and said, okay, I'm starting as an entrepreneur, would that avoid the burnout, or the burnout's going to come no matter what?
I can see where people see like burnout's going to come. But burnout comes when you don't have the right mindset or mentality and you think I'm the only one that can do this. And we all are guilty of that.
Yeah.
I can't have someone else do that. If I just do it, it'll be done quicker, better, faster. It'll be done exactly how I want it to. Instead of you taking the time to train someone that will do it better, faster, quicker than you will once they've been trained.
Right.
Right. But it's that mentality of like, oh, well, no one can talk to my clients other than me. Well, no one can do that other than me. It's like, that's where you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
And not putting the people in place to build in. You can't start off with leverage, right? When you're starting a business, you can't start with leverage. But as you get into it, you can build in leverage, and leverage is where you avoid burnout for whatever that looks like to you.
Well, let's break that into two kind of cohorts then. You have, maybe it's less of a control issue of delegation and things, and more of a, I literally don't have any commissions coming in to be able to get help. So let's talk about those people first, because it's really easy. I see that it's really easy to get burned out if you're not getting any results. Mm-hmm. And then if you are getting some results, then there's the whole take it to the next level thing, and you get burned out getting caught up in the whirlwind of the small results you are getting. But let's first talk about those that are going, okay, that's great, Treasurer. I would delegate, but I'm worried about paying my bills in being in this industry. Where do they start? Or how do they combat the overwhelmed and both? I mean, it's where do they start? And maybe the answer is obvious. I'm just thinking out loud here. Maybe the answer is, well, if you start making progress, you won't feel so burned out.
I mean, it's kind of like, when you go to a client's house and you can see they're struggling to pack up because they're hoarders, right? But some people are not hoarders by choice. They're hoarders because they don't know where to start. They don't know how to take the first step. It feels very overwhelming to them to do anything at all.
Yep.
And I think we all feel that way in some levels or others. Obviously, like the majority of people are not living in hoarder homes, and I mean like hoarder homes. But if you look at that and have compassion for them, you realize that they're just like everyone else. Theirs is just a forward-facing issue versus an internal issue. Mm-hmm. It's both for them, right? And so I think the first thing that people need to do is they need to have a non-negotiable either morning routine or evening routine. And I would just start off with one. You don't have to do both, but have a morning routine or an evening routine that is literally non-negotiable. I also say I spend Sundays doing CEO time. CEO time means that I look at my schedule for the week. I see what's going on for the week. I project it out there. I look at it, and then I add in times for either personal care that I need to do, and that doesn't need to cost money. It could be a hike. It could be a walk. It could be going to a friend's house, to what are the income producing activities that I'm going to do that are going to move this forward. And the way that I've always done that has been I make 10 conversations related to real estate a day. And if I don't have an appointment and I don't set an appointment, then I get on the call, I get on the phone or DMs or text or whatever it is. And I do another hour of having those two-way conversations. And it's not sexy and it's not fun and it's not attractive, but that's literally what it takes. Now, I will tell you, I've altered that over the years, and I say it's either 10 conversations or one new appointment, right? Because I'm just trying to set that, right? Because I'm still doing 40 deals a year.
Right.
So if I can set one, then I know that I'm on track, because with my sphere and past clients that I'm working with and agent-to-agent referrals, I know that they're higher level intent people coming to me. But if you're just starting out, making 10 conversations a day, and people always ask, what's a conversation? Anything two-sided real estate related.
With anyone or new people?
Anyone. If you're following up with people, you're following up with people. We don't have to make this harder than it needs to be, right? It's staying in touch with people, staying relevant, staying on top of it. And a little bit about me, when I started real estate, I joined my father-in-law, who was a very successful realtor. He started doing network marketing, and he hit it big, if you will. And so he was leaving and moving to Reno. And I said, okay, well, I'll be happy to work your database and then pay you a referral fee. And he said, oh, I don't have a database. It's all up here. And I was like, we're in trouble. My husband and I have left our state jobs. We have a 2-year-old. We bought a new home in a city on stated income. And I literally have no job.
Yeah.
So it also comes down to your motivation and your why.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people also throw around the why talk a lot. Yeah. I think it's something to like really spend some time journaling, talking about, thinking about, because your why is never like, oh, I want to make 6 figures. It always goes back to that 7 or 8-year-old of why you want to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, the money is important because it's a tool to be able to give back to people, which goes into my personal story. And it also makes sure that I never have to worry about where I'm going to live or where I'm going to eat or anything like that. So for me, it comes down to stability. It's not about the money. The money is a vehicle. It comes down to what's actually driving what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people, they put a lot of stuff into like, oh, I'm not going to do that why stuff. That's ridiculous. Well, you got to really get down to it, because on the days you don't want to make those calls and you don't want to follow up, or someone hangs up on you, or they call you bad names or whatever. I mean, think about it. Think about the way that when people call you, how do you treat them? Most of us don't treat them that well.
Yeah.
So that has to weigh on you, right? When you're actually doing that. So you better be filling that cup. So when someone says, da, 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 you're not like, you're just like, that's okay. It's getting me one closer to a yes. One more to a yes. I need to do 10 calls today. And then I always think to myself, I must have caught them at a really bad time and they're having something really bad happen. And I was just the icing on the cake. It has nothing to do with me because they don't actually know who I am.
Yeah.
Right. But it's those stories you tell yourself instead of being like, oh my gosh. So.
Well, and I think that, I'm big on the why, the vision. I don't think it's fluffy or ethereal. I think is a very tangible, real thing to say, this is what I'm doing this for. And it's for me that would be my answer for the entire podcast, is like, how do you, I don't know that you can ever avoid burnout. Sometimes things are just hard. Sometimes you got to chew rocks. Sometimes you got to, grind and get through it. The answer is, well, how do you do that? How do you make sure you get through? And to me, it comes down to exactly what you're saying. Like, if you don't have purpose beyond this or even making money. And I learned this. I started right out of high school, door-to-door sales. I was selling pest control in California.
Okay.
And as an 18-year-old, you could make ridiculous money. I mean, this is 25 years ago, and you could make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in 2.5 months, 3 months of knocking doors. And it still was not enough motivation when it was 115 degrees out to go knock another door. Like, all the money in the world, you could not motivate past that. And so the guys who made the most amount of money were the ones that had, we were all young. So it was either a pregnant spouse or a small kid, or they were trying to make enough money to go back and pay their tuition, or it was always something bigger than the money to help them get through the grind.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's really important, no matter what industry you look at. When you're starting a small business, why do you want to do it? Yeah. Why is it important to you? What's really driving you? And really getting to like peeling back the layers of the onion to be like, that's it. Yeah. That's why you're doing this. Hold on to that, because this business is going to knock you all around, and you got to hold on to that as like your grounding truth of why you want to do this. Yeah. And it kind of sounds I get it, but this business in this industry is really hard. And so I don't think it's a matter of necessarily avoiding it. I think it's a matter of spotting it quickly, making the adjustments that you need to make, and surrounding yourself with great people that are going to be alongside of you to kind of watch you inside those guardrails, right? They're going to kind of watch you. And I don't know if anybody's seen that that video where the guy is playing basketball and he misses a really important shot and his head is down and he's just, you can just see he's bummed, he's defeated. And his player comes up next to him and lifts his head up and like kind of straightens him up a little bit. And he's like, remember who you are. Like, remember who you are. And I think that's something that's so important because, you know, there's going to be times where we don't get to help clients. There's going to be times where they choose someone else. There's going to be times when something falls apart, right? But it's, who do you have around you that's going to be like, it's okay, let's get the next one, right? Who you surround yourself with is really important to avoid burnout.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that when they get brought into my other social circles, they're like, that guy is just a dreamer. I'm like, yeah, I know. And every once in a while, I need to go hang out with him because he'll talk about, hey, you know, when I have a plane in my ranch up in Montana, and you know, he's just a big dreamer and he's always living in that future. And for me, the burnout can help when I get there and I start to remember my dreams and some of the things that I'm doing it for. And yeah, I think a tough market, even a tough day, can make you forget what we're doing it for. So as as people think it is, to have your vision and then review it, have it in front of you, you know, as we've already lost people already today, Treasure, because we mentioned prospecting every day. So everyone's like, oh, I thought there was a silver bullet and I'm out. Right. And now they're like, well, I've heard this 10 times. Yeah, but if you haven't done it, like if you don't have a Post-it note in your bathroom with some of your goals and the reason why, what you're working towards, then you can't say it doesn't work. You have to just go try it, and that will help you get through the burnout.
Absolutely. And I think it's also really important to, like, when you're having a hard day and when you're feeling burned out, like, go back and look through your reviews of clients that have liked to work with you, right? And call them and stay in touch with them and be like, you know, those clients that you like really connect with, you can tell them like, hey, I'm having a little bit of a tough day. I just wanted to catch up with you and see how you're doing. And you hang up. And that's really important. And they always say, like, when you're doing something for someone else, it's really hard to be upset. So volunteering, giving back. One of the simplest things that I do is I scroll my phone for my photos. And I'll play a video or I'll just click on something and I'll watch it and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah. That's why I'm doing this so that I can do this. That's why I'm doing this so I can, you know, give back here. I want to give back in a big way, and this allows me in order to do that. Yeah. Right. So it's like, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like some people do journaling. They like to talk about their whys. It's something that I do with all my coaching clients is I stack up all their whys, and every quarter I tell them, let me just read off your why. Let me just read off your wins to you. It'll take me 2 minutes. And I just start rattling off their wins, and they're like, oh my gosh, I've actually had a really good quarter. And I'm like, because it's not all about the transactions, and it's not all about the money. It's about, think of this story, this impact you made. Think of how you saved this deal and what it allowed this family to do. Think about this, think about that, think about this, right? And we're in this industry of being able to provide amazing opportunities for clients that, you know, people aren't usually moving because they want to.
Yeah, especially in this market.
Yeah, there's usually something driving that decision of why they're doing that. And I think it's important to remember the actual story behind the house.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to make sure people are getting this, because this is, you know, there's repeat themes as we bring on highly successful, high producing guests onto the podcast. I hope people are starting to see the reoccurring thing, because the little thing that you said, and we didn't say go do this, you kind of mentioned it, but I hope people caught it. It's go talk to some past clients. And that's not the first time we've heard that. And if somebody says, well, I don't have past clients, we got some great advice from an agent who loved calling expireds, which that's the tougher one to call. That, you know, they're high competition, a lot of emotion. And when she's done calling expireds, if she's feeling down or burned out, or if she reaches out to past clients and somebody said, well, what if I don't have past clients? Then you call your mom, right? And her point was, you call someone that's going to lift you back up, to put you in the right mindset so that you can keep going. Because the goal isn't about today. The goal is about, what you're doing it for.
And we're planting seeds today by making the prospecting calls today for what's going to be a bounty down the road. And we have to remember that in an on-demand society. And it's hard to do for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Tell me then, this is not advice only for people who don't, can't delegate or build a team or anything. This is the advice for everybody to get through burnout. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Let's shift just a little bit and go with the assumption. This is my assumption. I think it's hard to feel burned out when you're winning. It can feel like a lot, but it is more fun. It's more fun to win than it is to lose.
Well, sure, for sure. Absolutely.
So then the question is if you are in your business right now and feeling like you're not winning the way that you want to, and if you haven't been listening about daily conversations and things, what are some things that people can do so that they can start to feel like they're winning right now?
Well, first of all, I want to say real quickly that I felt burnout during COVID. And COVID, we were all in the midst of it, we were all on fire, right? It was the best time to be in real estate.
Yeah.
And yet I was burned out. And because I was just going through the motions, right? Yeah. I didn't have time to do my marketing plan, so I didn't. And then you kind of lose those skills a little bit. And so then since that time, it's been rebuilding that stuff back up, which has been oh my gosh, I had forgotten we did that. Oh my gosh, I forgot we did that. And I think it's a chance every day for us to figure out how to bless somebody, right? What are they doing with that money? And how are you helping them to move forward? And how is it about them and their next step and their next journey? And sometimes it's not all that great. Sometimes it's helping them do a short sale versus a foreclosure, which is going to hurt their credit a lot less than a foreclosure. But you're still doing good by people. You're still doing the best you can. Yeah. And I think when you focus and you have a servant heart, then that helps you to not have the burnout at such a high level. And I think that it's two things. I think it's also knowing your identity. There are so many agents that this is all they know. And I was one of those agents. I remember some time when someone said, well, who are you? And I rattled off all my stats and all my certificates and all my speaking engagements and all of that. And they were like, no, but really, who are you? And I was like, I don't know. Because this is all I know.
Yeah.
And I remember someone asking me, what makes you happy? And I was like, deals. Deals make me happy. Winning makes me happy.
Right.
And it took me a long time to figure out what actually makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so I think no matter where people are at, never forgetting those two things and reevaluating it and taking time to really set a goal. You can have an overarching goal for the year, but really set them into sprints. Mm-hmm. What do I want to do for the next 3 months? Okay, I want to do X, Y, Z. Okay, now I'm going to reverse engineer that. And I'm going to back it up into weekly and daily things that I need to do. And in this world of AI, it makes it so easy for you to get inspiration to build that plan out.
Yeah.
Right? It'll literally give you a day-by-day thing of what to do by you saying, I want to achieve this. This is how many days I'm going to work. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to build this plan. What do I need to do every single day to not feel burned out? And it's basically focusing on income-producing activities and not busy work. Nothing that I'm saying is rocket science, but when it's applied, it really makes a big difference.
Yeah. Surprise, everybody. This is another podcast where we let you know there is no magic, There's no silver bullet. You just have to do the things. It's the small. I love that you started with consistency. We even talk about consistency over intensity, and because over a year, 10 conversations a day is way better than, hey, 2 weeks I'm going and I'm making 4 hours of grinding prospecting calls a day, and then you go, well, I'm not doing this anymore.
You don't.
Yeah,
you start looking for laundry or dishes, or I got to walk this, or I got to do that. And I think that, getting into some kind of co-work space or office space, or setting up like a monthly mastermind or a quarterly mastermind, just so you can get around people and lean into those things, is really important versus people isolating themselves, right? That's why there's been such a call for people to go back to work, because companies have realized that it's been hacked. There's mouse that will pretend to work for you, right? And companies are starting to see their productivity in some cases go down. And it's also very isolating for people. I know some people love it and they're very productive at home, for sure. But I also know that there's some people that when I go to their house to do an appointment, I know they're on the clock working and they're meeting with me for an hour. So I think it's just about, setting up time for you to do what you enjoy, being flexible with that time, and building in things that work good for you, and figuring out what you're good at and playing into those. So many times people are like, well, let's talk, like, you should do expireds. And you're like, I hate expireds. I don't want to do expireds. Well, then let's not lean in there. Yeah. That's like next level echelon, right? Like, I built my business doing for sale by owners and doing open houses for sale by owners that were never going to list with me. I don't want to go back to doing that, right? But I'm going to find things that I want to lean into, I want to go deep with, and I'm going to have 3 to 5 pillars that I'm willing to go deep in so that I can maximize what I'm doing so that I can get some clients out of it.
It's awesome.
And I'm doing that quarter over quarter, year over year, looking back, analyzing what went right, what went wrong, but I'm doing that literally every day. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do I want to do different tomorrow? Because the great thing is we wake up unemployed every day. There's no check coming for us.
Yeah.
So you have the next day to reset it and do it all different. What I did today, if I didn't do what I needed to do, I have tomorrow to make it up.
Yeah. How much, I don't know if I know how to word this question, because I don't want the viewers to think that I'm leading the conversation. It's a genuine question. How much of the discipline that you are articulating, because I think people are watching, they're like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be that disciplined. I wish that I could be that good at setting my goals. But you started this whole conversation saying, I have 3 coaches at any given time. How much would you accredit to the accountability and guidance of just someone asking you the right questions that have resulted in what people are going, wow, Treasure is the most disciplined person? And I'm not trying to take credit away from you, but I think people often are listening to this going, okay, well, you're just wired different than I am. And I go, well, so does my question make sense? How much would you credit the things that you're talking about, where you are in the business and your ability to do these things? Because you also have people in your life that are saying, hey, you said you were going to do this, did you? Mm-hmm. And then asking questions to make you go, that.
I think it all comes down to something that I've always said from like forever. A huge basketball fan. Everybody knows Michael Jordan, right? Everybody knows Kobe Bryant. Everybody knows Michael Phelps. They all have coaches. They all have multiple coaches in every single, whether it's nutrition or weights, or like, obviously Michael Jordan knew how to shoot the ball. He knew how to make shots. He was the best. This might offend some people. He's been the best basketball player of all time, in my opinion. Like the Chicago Bulls, I'm not even from Chicago. Like that old school with Scottie Pippen and all of them, like, To me, they're the best. That's controversy, I know. But they all have multiple coaches that coach them in multiple things. They're not so proud to think they can do it. Now, Curtis, when you have to work out, if you have to meet someone at 5 a.m. that's counting on you, that's going to call you out if you don't, or you're going to work out in your own home and you didn't sleep that good, your kids kept you up all night, which one are you more likely to snooze on?
You're speaking my love language. I have 2 gym accountability guys, and yeah, when one of them is sick, I like get angry at him. I'm like, what do you mean? Because then I'm like worried, go to bed anxious that, oh man, am I gonna get up on my own because no one's meeting me there? Yeah,
right. Or am I just gonna hit snooze as well? And I think that's the thing about coaching is, and whether people can afford to have a coach or not, I think that if people are starting to feel burnout, then I think they really need to just call a timeout. They need to turn off their notifications and they need to like sit back and ask themselves, what's draining me?
Yeah.
And what can I do to either leverage it or delegate it or just stop doing it? Right? Like if you're just like, I'm making all these expired phone calls and it's just not working and I don't love it and I've been doing it, guess what? There are 47,000 lead sources out there that you can do, right? Let's pick another one that you're actually going to lean into and not feel like this every single time you do it, right? Some people love it. Like sometimes I get on accountability calls and I'm like, whoa, you guys, it's 5 a.m. Like, this is not for me. Guess what? It doesn't have to be for me. I can flip and do the evening one. And that could be more my style, right?
Yeah.
You got to find what works for you and then just lean into that. And I know that when we first started talking, it was like, oh, these 3 things.
Yeah.
Never have people start off with 3 things. Only start off with 1. Yeah. One thing that you want to do consistently. What's one thing? Is it getting to the office at the same time until you build that as a habit? Is it working out every day so that you have better mindset? Is it not shoving your face with crappy food that's going to drop you at 3 o'clock and you're going to be done for the day? You know, it's not so much about like I'm wired different or like I have this high level. Obviously now I've built in guardrails that kind of keep me in this lane, right? But it's really about knowing what I'm good at and what doesn't drain me and just staying there.
Yeah.
And not getting the shiny object syndrome and never comparing myself to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
I have, you know, that whole, like that Michael Phelps picture that you see where he's watching Michael swim.
Yeah.
And Michael's just swimming.
Yep.
That's what it's about. Like if you focus on other people, it's never going to make you feel good. And if it does make you feel good because someone's doing bad, well, then that says more about you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just about like, how can I do better? How can I stay on my wins? And how can I project what I want to do for the next 3 months? What am I working on? Forget about what everybody else is doing unless you're going to bless them.
Yeah.
Right. This is about what am I doing consistently because I'm a small business owner and I'm here to make this a success.
Love it. While we wrap up again, we started it with promising we'd do more with Treasure because I think that you have a tremendous amount of insight. But if somebody watched this whole thing and I hope people take notes. I hope they take something, whether it's 10 conversations a day, whether it's getting accountability, whether it's setting your why, figuring out what your identity, true identity, and your passion and happy, whatever it is. But what would you leave them as your last piece of advice on the topic of I'm overwhelmed, I'm burned out, you know?
What I like to have people do and what I do myself, which is the most eye-opening and humbling, is I audit my time. And even still to this day, as disciplined as I think I am, it's not that great. Right? And you make time for the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
You make time for it. And no one's going to convince you otherwise. No one, I could talk to you and tell you every motivational thing, everything that Kobe Bryant ever said, or Michael Jordan ever said, but if it doesn't resonate with you and it's not for you, like, you're not going to do it. Right. So I really think that it comes down to just that, like, audit your time, be honest with yourself, have awareness about yourself, which is very hard for us to do. And just look at identifying where it is. Is it no boundaries with clients? Is it lack of systems? Is it personal stress that's feeding on top of it? Where is it coming from? Because it's coming from somewhere. Yeah. And I think the quicker that we can identify it, then the quicker we can start to put in small little things to improve it. Like, one of my coaching clients, it was literally like, hey, show me your calendar. Let me see, because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So show me your calendar. Let me see when the last time you went on a date with your wife was. Pull it up. Let me look at it. And we went through there, and I'm like, every week, buddy, put it on your calendar every week. And it doesn't have to be spending money. It could be a walk around the park with your dog or your kids, right? What is it that we're going to do to move this forward so you're having that intentional time?
Yeah.
And I think it's very simple things, but it all comes down to honesty and awareness, and auditing where you spend your time, because we choose where we spend our time. We never don't have time. We make choices.
Yeah. It's priority.
Yeah.
Love it. Treasure, if people want to find you or reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
They can find me on Instagram. That's the best place, because Facebook maxes out at 5,000 people. So follow me on Instagram. It's at Treasure Davis Realtor. I'd love to follow you back and have connections. That's probably the best place to find me.
Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions for Treasure, take advantage. She just told you where to find her, and she to connect with her. We promise to have her back, because I definitely want to break down the whole team thing. And thank you so much for being with us today. For everybody else, we're here every Thursday. So make sure you tune in every week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for the opportunity.